All right, guys, woke Somali Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and her consultant husband, Tim Mynett, are under investigation from the House Oversight Committee. Well, now that investigation has gone overseas, as it looks like Omar and her husband are making money in Somalia, Dubai, and really all over the place. Now, you remember there were $9 billion in fraud coming out of the state of Minnesota, specifically from Ilhan Omar's district, and it looks like some of that money is going back over to Somalia. And if you remember, Ilhan Omar came into Congress with a negative $65,000 net worth, and now her and her husband are worth up to $30 million. Something isn't adding up. Take a look.
Meanwhile, the House Oversight investigation into Minnesota Squad Democrat Ilhan Omar is going global. The committee is now looking into her husband's business dealings overseas. Maddie Rivera joins us from Washington with the very latest. Good morning, Maddie.
Good morning, Griff. House Oversight Chair James Comer says he wants answers after federal disclosures show Congresswoman Omar's husband's assets grew millions of dollars in about a year. The bulk of Tim Mynett's wealth comes from two ventures, a California-based winery and a D.C.-based venture capital firm. Comer says Mynett's stakes there grew from $51,000 in 2023 to as much as $30 million in 2024. Now, the New York Post reports Comer wants the House Ethics Committee to look beyond Mynett's businesses in the U.S. and include places like Somalia, Kenya, and the United Arab Emirates. The Post reports Mynett's investment firm wanted to build solar panels in Africa. In a letter to Mynett from February 5th, Comer writes, "There are serious public concerns about how your businesses increased so dramatically in value only a year after reporting very limited assets." Omar contends she did nothing wrong and says her wealth came from her husband. The House Oversight Committee began the initial probe into the couple, an atypical move given that the House Ethics Committee usually handles allegations involving lawmakers and their families. But it grew out of Comer's efforts to investigate alleged fraud in Minnesota. There's a long history of lawmakers taking office and raking in cash. There are similar questions about the income of Omar's fellow squad member, Ayanna Pressley.
I love how Ilhan Omar just tries to say, oh no, it's just my husband's money, nothing to see here. Well, if we look at her husband, he had $50,000 in these businesses, and now 1 year later, they're worth up to $30 million. That doesn't make sense for anybody. Ayanna Pressley, the same story with her husband. They went from a negative net worth to $8 million. Something needs to be done. We have these investigations happening, but let's remember, if the Democrats take back the House, all these investigations stop. Take a look at this.
Guys, I mean, it's an interesting situation we have here. I mean, there's a lot of explaining to do, wouldn't you say?
That's what he do.
Yeah. When the GDP of Somalia is $12 billion and we have $9 billion that has been lost in Minneapolis, it does kind of raise some kind of questions.
And some saying the number could be actually much higher than that. Much higher than that. And you see all of this really shady business dealings here from Ilhan Omar. The attention on Minnesota corruption, and specifically the role of Ilhan Omar, cannot be overshadowed. We had Brandon Gill on, as you remember, last weekend, and he says that he promises that the House Republicans will get to the bottom of this potential scandal before the midterms, because if the Republicans lose the House, Griff, these investigations will go away.
Oh, and they're going to change very much in the scope of who they will be targeting.
Just think about that for a minute. The entire economy of the country of Somalia is $12 billion, and you have Somali people in one state in this country, the state of Minnesota, committing $9 billion in fraud. And then you have a Somali congresswoman like Omar with her husband sending that fraud money back over to Somalia and making money over there. I mean, how disgusting is this? And like they just said in that clip, if the Democrats take the House back, not only will these investigations go away, they're going to flip them over onto the Republicans. And Republicans are going to be under investigation for garbage, just like they did to President Trump. The impeachments are going to come back. And you know who's getting screwed over? The taxpayer. I mean, just imagine being represented by Ilhan Omar, knowing that your money's going into her pocket and then it's going back overseas in her husband's businesses. This is truly disgusting.
It's just that there's something really particularly distasteful about what we see happening in Minnesota. And if there is a connection between her and some of this other corruption we're seeing, and she's been covering it up for her district, and of course, it's worse because it's like an immigrant, this is an immigrant community. The lack of gratitude that you would come here, not just be exceptionally high rates of welfare, but now you're also just literally ripping us off and sending our money to Somalia. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, obviously the biggest victims are taxpayers across the country.
Of course.
But also victimized by all this are the people that she's supposed to represent, who she's instead putting all of her effort into stealing from.
And that's the truth. You have people in Ilhan Omar's office that were convicted of being involved in that Somali fraud. She knew exactly what was going on. She helped these people, and then she's sending that money back overseas. We already know that she most likely did marry her brother. We already know that she probably lied about her age to get her citizenship in the first place. And I made videos on both those things. I'll put links at the end of this video for that. But you guys got to take a look at this and speak out now. Tell your members in Congress to do these investigations and get them over with before it's too late. Because if she's not held accountable now, we're going to be stuck with Omar for another 2 years. She needs to be expelled from the House. She needs to be charged with crimes, and she needs to have her citizenship stripped away. Quite frankly, Ilhan Omar does not belong in this country. Guys, do me a favor. If you like this video, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to this channel, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.